What's up? What's up? We're back, and this week, we actually already been here this week, but it's for the TUF 28 finale. So we're gonna get right into it. I'm actually going to this event, so I'm pretty excited for it, especially the main event. It's probably the fight I'm most looking forward to of the whole weekend. So, for the first fight of the night for this card, it's gonna be Raoni Barcelos returning against Chris Gutierrez, and this is a great fight. The first time that Raoni Barcelos came into the UFC, he was underdog. He was fighting Kurt Holobaugh, and I predicted him to get the victory here, and he didn't disappoint. He finished with some nasty uppercuts, really looked really good, and now he's making the drop down to 135 pounds. So if he can make this drop safely, he'll definitely be a huge 135er, and he's going to be fighting Chris Gutierrez, who's making his UFC debut, and he's pretty technical striker out of Factory X, which is a surging camp, so definitely someone you can't sleep on. But Barcelos is going to be making the drop to 135, like I said, and he had a pretty nasty KO. I mean, that uppercut of Kurt Holobaugh was really good, but Gutierrez is a good striker. He's defensively sound. He's fluid with his attacks, light on his feet. He does a good job faking and feigning to create openings for his shots. Nasty jab, and he has a really nice leg kick. He throws oblique kicks to the knees a lot. He'll throw front kicks to the body. Throws a lot of counter right hooks, and he likes to throw a nice counter check left hook, and he has good power on it. Nice spinning back kicks to the body. He'll also close the distance with straight punch combinations. Nasty spinning back fist as well. I mean, he's a pretty good striker, and he allows fighters to close the distance on him, get it on his legs, and take him down, which I don't really like, and in this matchup that could potentially be a problem. But he is dangerous, and he has good power with 6 knockouts. He's never been finished by strikes, and he's a tough guy. He's not a good wrestler, like I said. Fighters are able to close the distance on him, get on his legs. They can get double legs pretty easily, and he's lost fights via being grinded out. To wrestlers such as Gerard Sanders, who used to be in the UFC, Timur Valiev, and he's solid on his back. He'll attack with triangles, arm bars. He has pretty good hips, but he doesn't have a good get-up game, and he usually, when he gets taken down, he'll lose that round. He doesn't really have that urgency to get up off of his back, and he's facing an elite jiu-jitsu competitor in this fight, and if he hasn't improved his wrestling, he'll be in big trouble in my opinion. Gutierrez is up against it here. He needs to try to just catch Barcelos with a big shot as he closes the distance and put him down. I don't see him stopping the forward pressure of Barcelos, and I think even on the feet, Barcelos will walk him down. If he gets taken down by Raoni, he could easily be submitted in my opinion. Barcelos has really nice guillotines. He almost got a guillotine on Kurt Holobaugh in his last fight, and he's a beast, man. He's very athletic. He has a good striking game. He's a black belt in jiu-jitsu. Good hands, fast hand speed. He throws nice straight punches, good overhands. He's more of a Muay Thai striker, but he does a good job of staying light on his feet, sliding just in and out of range. He has good straight right hand. He has nasty uppercuts that he'll throw in the pocket with big power. He'll fake single leg, so the uppercuts, and very good at, faking the level changes and then actually level changing later on in fights, so it makes it easier for him to get takedowns. He has nice kicks, nice knees to the head, to the body, hard leg kicks, and he has power in his punches. He does a good job of catching people coming in with counter shots, and I think he has kind of a similar counter striking style to that of a guy like Johnny Eduardo, who's a longtime veteran in the UFC, and he's I think the striking coach for Team Alpha Male for a long time now, and he has Barcelos has good takedowns, hard ground and pound, great timing on double legs, and when he takes fighters down, he has good control, good passing ability. He'll keep the front headlock position, and when fighters try to stand up, and he has good trips near the cage. He does a great job attacking with punches off the break, and like I said, he almost got Kurt Holobaugh in a guillotine at the end of round 2, but the clock ran out, and he only has 1 submission, and he isn't a big submission guy in his UFC career, or in his MMA career, but I feel like he could definitely has the potential to get submissions, especially in this matchup, and he's beaten some good fighters, Ricky Musgrave, Bobby Moffitt, Dan Moret, Kurt Holobaugh, and he only has 1 loss, and it was by submission, but he has good takedown defense. He's hard to get it on his legs. He'll attack with guillotines when fighters shoot doubles, but I'll be very surprised to see Gutierrez shoot takedowns. Barcelos, he should look to walk down Gutierrez, counter with kicks, with straight punches and uppercuts. He should mix in takedowns as well, because I feel like he can get them fairly easily. He has great cardio. He can go hard for all 3 rounds, and I just think Barcelos is way too much for someone coming in on the UFC debut, and I think he'll use counter striking, mix in takedowns, and win a pretty one-sided decision here. So I'm going to go with Raoni Barcelos to keep it rolling and win in his new weight class. And up next we have Tim Means against Ricky Rainey, and a pretty fun fight. I see a lot of people very high on Tim Means in this matchup, and I don't know how you could be that high on Tim Means for this matchup, because I feel like it's probably going to be a striking battle. But this is a battle of 2 fighters that need a win here. Tim Means has dropped 2 in a row, 3 of his last 4 overall, and Ricky Rainey got knocked out in his UFC debut, and at 35 he needs to get going quickly to have any UFC success. And Rainey is a big imposing figure. He has a very long reach for welterweight, 79-inch reach, does a good job utilizing it with kicks, straight punches, and he has a hands-down style. He has a lot of faith in his chin, take a shot to give one. He throws a lot of leg kicks, high kicks from the outside, has a nice straight right hand, good left hook, nice overhand right left hook combination, and when he starts to get more confident, he'll really start to walk fighters down, throw hard leg kicks, open up with his punches, and he has good front kicks to the body, front knees to the body, good power. He has 7 KO TKOs in his career, but he is hittable. He's been finished 3 times with strikes. He can get his kicks jammed at times, and fighters can counter over the top with punches, and he needs to be more defensively sound in this fight, protect his chin, because Means is definitely going to throw a lot of volume of straight punches, and if he could start to land over and over again, it could really start to potentially affect Ricky Rainey. But Rainey's a big physical guy. He's strong in the clinch. He has good tie knees, lands nasty knees to the head, to the body, hard elbows. He'll throw front elbows also. Good job of timing double legs, getting body locks. On top, he has good control, heavy ground and pound, and he likes to use takedowns to score points, control opponents on the ground. He isn't a big submission threat. He only has 1 in his career, and he's never been submitted, but Rainey needs to be the one going forward here, try to use long punches and kicks to keep Means at his range, and he should look to mix in takedowns, stay unpredictable, and he's dangerous in space, and this is going to be a fun fight while it lasts. And Tim Dirty Bird Means, he's a long-time staple of the UFC. He's had a bunch of great fights, but he has lost 2 in a row. He needs a win here to guarantee another UFC fight. And Means is a volume striker. He has vicious elbows. He has a nasty jab, good straight right hand. He'll throw a counter straight right hand in the pocket with very stinging power. And he keeps a high volume of punches out there. He'll double and triple up on his jab. He does a good job changing the speed of his punches. Peppering fighters, he'll mix in faster, powerful punches in between. And he does a good job using head movement to slip, throw left hooks. He'll also throw jabs to the body. He'll wear fighters out with pressure. He has nice leg kicks, front kicks to the body. He'll throw good step-in knees to the body as well. The occasional high kick. He does a good job throwing straight right hands, then uppercuts. And his chin, in my opinion, is not what it once was. He's only been finished 1 time by strikes. He has 18 KO TKOs, so he's definitely usually the hammer and not the nail. But I think that his chin is fading just a little bit, if I'm going to be honest about it. And he's great in close, though. He's nasty in the dirty boxing range. He has nasty elbows, short hooks, and uppercuts. He'll throw nice knees to the body, and he can cut his opponents up. He could really show that against Sabah Hamasi. He really keeps a high volume of shots out there. He'll shoot for double legs occasionally, and he isn't a bad wrestler. He has good elbows from top position, but he isn't extremely dangerous or a big submission threat, and he has been submitted 4 times in his career. He is a veteran. He has much more experience than Rainey against high-level competition, and Means needs to close the distance, counter Rainey's kicks with jabs and straight punches. And in close, I kind of feel like Rainey will be stronger and be able to possibly take down Means, but I think Means will be able to land some shots in close that Rainey potentially could not see and hurt him with it, such as elbows. But Rainey is the faster fighter, in my opinion, on the outside, and I don't think the line is right at all. I feel like Rainey is a live dog here, and he did get killed really badly in his last fight, so we have to see how his chin recovered. But I'm actually going to go with Ricky Rainey here by 2nd round TKO. I just think that Tim Means is going to want to strike with this guy at a distance, and I think, ultimately that Ricky Rainey is going to be able to land a big shot and, put Tim Means down and finish with ground and pound. So I'm going to go with Ricky Rainey to get the upset here, but I think that's a close fight, and I'm not super confident in my pick there. And I'm next to have Roosevelt Roberts against Daryl Horcher. And, this is a pretty interesting fight. Roosevelt Roberts is a young guy. He's coming off a win on the Dana White Contender Series, and he's taking on Daryl Horcher, who actually, I kind of left him for dead after he had a terrible performance against Devin Powell after his motorcycle accident, but looked much better in his fight after against Scott Holtzman. So he kind of, with the win here, could bring himself back in the mix as a decent fighter at 155 pounds. But Roosevelt Roberts, he's very good. He has nice leg kicks, good front kicks to the body, good overhand right. He has a fast straight right hand, but he's still developing as a striker. He's very fast. He's athletic. He has a long frame for the division, so he has the ability to be a good striker, but he keeps his chin a bit high, and good fighters could counter laying clean punches. I think Horcher potentially could do that, but he does do a decent job parrying, using head movement to avoid punches, and he likes throwing hooks and uppercuts in the pocket, but he can be a bit flat-footed, and he tends to lean back at times to avoid shots instead of using lateral movement. His counter left hook is dangerous. He has solid power in his hands, and he has 3 TKOs in his career, but most of those have come from top position on the ground, and that's where he's really good, man. Roberts is a great wrestler. He's a submission grappler. He's explosive closing distance with double legs. He'll elevate, slam opponents to the mat. He's also very strong in the clinch, where he gets easy body lock takedowns due to his length. And on top, he does a great job passing, moving to dominant position, raining down punishment. He gets a high mount. He's very hard to buck off. He'll land hard, relentless ground and pound. And he does a great job landing frame elbows. He'll eventually force opponents to get TKO'd or give their back, and you'll get a rear naked choke. And he's dangerous with standing chokes as well. He'll jump on guillotines, front chokes. And he's getting a big step up here in competition, and he needs to prove that he can compete at this level. But I think Roberts needs to avoid striking for long periods of time in this fight, especially in boxing range. Just try to use his straight right hand, his jab, other techniques to close distance, get in the clinch, get takedowns. And if he can get on top of Horcher early, do some damage, zap some energy from him, he could finish late. But he needs to be careful in boxing range because Horcher has power and Roberts is pretty hittable. But for Darrell Horcher, we'll be looking to bounce back here from a loss to Scott Holtzman in his last outing. And he's a veteran of MMA. He's fought the likes of Khabib Nurmagomedov. But like I said, he suffered a major injury in a motorcycle accident that almost killed him. And then he had a split decision against Devin Powell, who's not a great fighter, a split decision win. But he looked much better against Scott Holtzman. And he's a power puncher. He throws dangerous left hooks, rear uppercuts in the pocket. He also has a nice right hook. And he throws everything with full power. He really loads up on his shots. He does a great job timing uppercuts when fighters change levels. He hurt Scott Holtzman with an uppercut. And Roberts needs to avoid that because that's a dangerous strike right there. And Holcher is flat-footed. He allows fighters to close the distance on him, get him against the cage. He does have decent takedown defense against the cage, but he can be taken down with doubles and body locks. He's hard to take down early, but if fighters are able to take him down a couple times, he'll slow down, become easier to continue to take down. And Horcher has decent double legs himself, but he's not great with his top game. He isn't great off his back. He allows fighters to control him on the mat. He doesn't have great get-ups, and he can be finished with ground and pound. Khabib Nurmagomedov was able to finish him with ground and pound. I mean, that is Khabib, though, so it's hard to really say. That's the only guy that's ever finished Horcher. Horcher needs to make Roberts uncomfortable early, feel like he doesn't belong in there. If he could stuff a couple takedowns, clip and hurt Roberts, he may make him panic and finish him. And I think that Roberts is going to be the faster, quicker athlete in there. And as long as he can get a takedown early before getting clipped, he should win the fight. I see Roberts getting Horcher against the cage, getting body locks or double legs, and then landing some pretty hard ground and pound. And I think he'll eventually find a submission, either via guillotine or rear naked choke. Horcher's never been submitted. Like I said, he's only been finished one time by Khabib. He has 6 KO TKOs. He is a dangerous fight for Roberts. I just think Roberts is the better athlete. I think he'll be able to get it where he wants it and take over the fight. So I'm going to go with Roberts via second round rear naked choke in that one. And up next, you have a very fun fight between Joseph Benavidez against Alex Perez. Kind of like a new guard against the old guard. Potential changing of the guard fight here. And Benavidez, he's one of the greatest flyweights of all time, but he's aging. He lost a tight decision to Sergio Pettis in his last time out. And Alex Perez, he's surging. He's 21-4. He has 8 consecutive wins, and he's 3-0 to start his UFC career. Benavidez, he's still a tough out. I thought he beat Sergio Pettis, but it was a close fight. Benavidez always comes in great shape. He keeps a high volume of pressure on his opponents, and he has nice low leg kicks, nice straight left hand, overhand right combination. He keeps his hands low. It makes it hard to predict when he's going to close the distance with combinations. But he struggled to find his range against Pettis. He was trying to use a lot of Superman punches, spinning back fits to close distance. And he likes to get in on the legs. He has nice double leg entries, good singles. And he has a nice trip takedown from the outside. His wrestling hasn't been as effective, though, in recent fights. He's struggled to get takedowns. He will still bank time with clinch work, try to land spinning attacks off the break in the cage. And he's on top, he's strong. He has good ground control, strong ground and pound. He's not a big submission artist, but he has a good guillotine. And I expect Joseph to look a little bit sharper here after returning from his injury and have a better performance. Benavidez needs to keep the volume high, stay in Perez's face, try to force him to defend the punches and get takedowns. And if he can get Perez on the ground, he has been submitted before, so he could potentially submit Perez, but Joseph has tremendous cardio. He has a good chin. He's only been finished once by strikes. He can recover quickly, and this is definitely the toughest test of Alex Perez's career. And Alex Perez, he's been looking great lately. He ran through Jose Torres, like a hot knife through butter. He dominated Eric Shelton. He dominated Carl Johnson Thomas. And he's a slick grappler with Timo Yama, solid on the feet as well. Uses a lot of feints, a lot of angles, catches opponents on the end of his punches and kicks. And he has good power on his shots as well, especially for 125. He's extremely fast. He really lets his hands go. Great jab, right hook. He'll throw an uppercut, left hook, right hook combination. He likes to catch fighters as they close the distance, and that's what Joseph has trouble with previously in his fight against Sergio Pettis, so he could potentially have that trouble again. And Perez is someone that won't let him off the hook. Perez will attack the body with hooks. He's very hittable though, and he'll walk forward with the high guard. He'll take shots to give his own, but his high volume makes fighters hesitant to throw at him, and he lands more than his opponents in most fights. Especially you saw that against Jose Torres, where he was just had a blistering pace in that fight. And his jab overhand right was on point in his last fight. He was connecting every time with it. And he was relentless going for the finish. He had like a 20-punch combination to finish the fight. And he likes to fake single legs, come back with overhands. He has good body lock takedown, strong double legs. His single is good also, and he's dangerous with chokes. He loves to get the front headlock position, and you'll look for a variation of different chokes in that position. You'll go from an anaconda to a Dars to a guillotine. He has finished 2 of his last 4 wins by anaconda choke, and he likes to get in the clinch, throw nasty uppercuts, hooks. He stays active in that dirty boxing range. He has great cardio. He's a finisher for 125. He has 10 finishes in his career. He's never been finished with strikes, and he needs to counter Benavidez with combinations as Benavidez tries to get inside. If he can cut Benavidez off with punches early, I see him overwhelming him and closing the show, to be honest with you. Benavidez is a veteran. He's only been finished 1 time in his career. I see Perez, really hurting Benavidez a little bit early and then cruising to a decision. And I feel like he'll be able to land the cleaner, more impactful shots over 3 rounds, be able to catch Benavidez as he comes in, closes the distance, and just kind of control the pace of the fight. But if he can't hurt Benavidez early and Benavidez can start to find his own range, that could potentially become a very interesting fight. And I think a lot of people are writing off Benavidez a little bit early, potentially. And up next we have Rick Glenn. He's fighting against Kevin Aguilar, who's will be making his UFC debut after a great career on the regional scene. He's defeated a lot of good fighters, and he's proven that he's ready for this level of competition. He's defeated the likes of Than Lee, Damon Jackson, Joey Gomez, and he's coming off a split decision, or Rick Glenn is coming off a split decision win over Dennis Bermudez, which was a bit questionable, but he'll be looking to build momentum with the back-to-back wins and try to make a run here. But Aguilar, he's a good boxer. He has a nice jab. He skips into range with it. He'll double up on it as well. Very stiff and powerful. He could drop fighters with his jab. Good straight right hand to the body and to the head. He has great hand speed, and he's going to give Glenn problems with his boxing. He has a nice uppercut in close range. He does a good job cutting off the cage, stalking his opponents to the fence, feinting and faking to see reactions, draw out shots of his opponents to land his own. He does a good job of throwing and moving out of range. Good in and out movement. He can get hit, but he has a great chin. He eats shots just fine. He rarely throws kicks, but he'll throw occasional leg kicks, head kicks, and he has big power. He has 10 KO TKOs. He has been finished 1 time by strikes. Fighters are able to time double legs on him. If they can get him in the clinch, they can possibly body lock him, but his jab makes it hard to get inside on him, and off his back he isn't great, but he has a decent guard. He does a good job protecting himself, waiting till he can create distance and kick off or scramble back to his feet, and his cardio is phenomenal. He'll push the pace all 3 rounds. Right when he gets up, if he gets taken down, he'll start to attack, and in the clinch against the cage, he does a decent job getting right back, or getting wide to deny takedown attempts, and he can be controlled against the cage. He needs to not let Glenn close the distance on him, because if he can get him inside, he could take down Aguilar most likely. Aguilar needs to keep Glenn at the end of his right hand. He's going to have much faster hands, and if he can find his range, he could easily finish Glenn with punches. He has huge power in his right hand. He has a bunch of one-punch KOs, and you just see his devastating knockout power. But Rick Glenn, he's a very tough workman. He's well-rounded. He has rounded out his game a lot better since moving to Team Alpha Male. He has good sharp straight punch combinations. He was throwing a nice stabbing front kick in his last fight and to the head as well. And he likes to throw rear body kicks followed by straight right hands. He uses wide hooks to try to close the distance, get in the clinch. He has good timing on double legs. He does a good job of getting body locks in the clinch as well. He can't struggle to find range and close the distance. He isn't the fastest or most athletic fighter, and he's very tough. He'll walk fighters down while taking a beating, try to get inside. He catches kicks well. He gets takedowns that way also. He has great cardio. He does a good job getting on top, staying heavy while, landing steady ground and pound. He has 11 knockouts in his career. He's never been finished with strikes. He can be taken on himself. He got his back taken by Miles Jury. He has been submitted 2 times. He has 4 submissions himself. Glenn needs to try to get takedowns here. I think he'll struggle on the feet to get past the jab, the straight right hand of Aguilar. And Aguilar isn't someone who you want to eat punches from. I think Aguilar could get grounded out here if he takes Glenn lightly or he has octagon jitters. But if he's on his A game, I think he could be the first fighter to finish Glenn with strikes. And that's what I'm going to predict here. I believe Glenn is hittable, and you cannot get hit by a guy like Aguilar clean too many times. So I'm going to go with Kevin Aguilar via late second round KO TKO on that one. And, I think he's an interesting addition to the UFC roster. And up next you have Antonina Shevchenko fighting against Ji-Yeon Kim. And this is an interesting fight. The UFC debut of Antonina Shevchenko. It's been highly anticipated. And she had a dominant win over in the Dana White Contender Series. And she's 39-1 in kickboxing, 6-0 in MMA. She's fighting 1 week before her sister's title fight, so she should have had a great camp with her and really had a lot of good sparring and all that. And Shevchenko's a good striker. She has fast hands. She has a good jab right hand, nice leg kicks, hard front kicks to the body, good lead and counter left hook. She has heavy head kicks, very nice body kicks, and she keeps heavy volume on opponents. She stays at her range. She's very nasty in the clinch, and her grappling looks impressive, man. She's very strong when she gets a hold of the Muay Thai plum. She'll land heavy knees to the body and the head, nasty elbows. She has great elbows in close range. She cuts fighters' faces up. Great takedown defense. She'll sprawl, get double underhooks, reverse, get on top herself. She has nice elbows on the ground. She has great cardio. She'll continue to land knees or ground and pound until she finishes the fight. I think her clinch striking is more impressive than her range striking. She's actually more aggressive than Valentina. Antonina, she's mean. She enjoys breaking and finishing fighters, and she needs to try to land her jab or straight punches, then get into Thai plum, land knees, start to brutalize Kim, and she can also get on top of Kim, land some ground and pound control time, in my opinion. And she has much more experience in striking fights than Kim, and that's what I think this will be. And for Jeon Kim, she's a very long boxer. She loves to scrap. She has nice hands. She'll throw the jab right hand with authority. Her right hand has good power. She has good footwork. She likes to back up, circle, try to walk you into her right hand. She likes to throw hands in the pocket. She'll really sit down, trust her power. And she's much better when she gets aggressive. She has good fakes and feints, good movement. She cuts the cage off well. She'll start to walk down, try to land hard counters and right hands. She's a good uppercut too. She'll throw some leg kicks, but not many, and needs to incorporate more kicks in her game. She has 14 boxing fights, 10 MMA fights, so she's experienced as well. And she has good cardio volume. She loves to scrap. She likes to throw a jab, straight right hand, left hook, straight right hand. And she will throw inside-outside leg kicks in the pocket. She also has a nice straight left overhand right combination, and she'll throw nice uppercuts in close range. She does a good job moving her head off the center line after throwing punches, and she'll throw nice combinations, let her hands go as she closes distance. She doesn't have great power. She only has one TKO in her career. She's never been finished herself. She has a good chin, and she will eat shots to give her own. She isn't a great grappler. She seems to lack physical strength in the clinch. Fighters are able to push her, control her against the cage, and she will throw short knees, punches in that range, tries to stay active, but I see this being a dominant position for Shevchenko. Kim is not a wrestler. She just has one takedown attempt, 0 takedowns in 3 UFC fights, and this is a very tough matchup for Kim. Kim is going to need to use her boxing combinations to land shots as Antonina close distance, avoid the clinch. If Antonina can get her in the clinch, I think she'll bully Kim with knees to the body, to the head. I think Antonina is going to dominate this fight, to be honest. I see her landing straight punches, jabs at range, closing the distance, beating Kim up, and I think she'll win via late finish or decision. But I'm going to go with Antonina Shevchenko to get it done here, and start off the next 2 weeks of the Shevchenko sisters on the right track. And up next we have Edmund Shahbazyn. He's fighting against Darren Stewart. And this is a very interesting fight. Edmund Shahbazyn, it's hard to find footage on this guy. He only has a few fights out there. All his fights have been finished in the first round, but he's very aggressive. He's been training since he was a very young kid. There's a interview out there on YouTube of him at that Glendale fighting gym, when they look like they're like 9 and 10 years old. But, Darren Stewart is going to be trying to make it 3 consecutive upset wins, and I've actually picked the last 2 upsets for Darren Stewart. And Edmund Shahbazyn, he's going to try to announce himself in the UFC. He's only 21 years old. He's been a pro for only 2 years. So this is a big step up for him, but he's 7-0. He's 7 knockouts. He looks pretty athletic. He has a nice jab, good right hook. He's very aggressive. He likes to walk opponents down, throw jab right hands, then get in the clinch where he has nasty uppercuts and knees. He has very good hand speed, and when he gets fighters in a defensive shell, he'll swarm with hook and uppercut combinations, and he does a good job using punches to get in on takedowns, good body locks, good double legs. He gets to the mount quickly. He'll rain down blows, and until the ref stops the fight, he definitely has a bit of a mean streak in him. He'll really start to load up on ground and pound. He has a nice head kick also. He's gotten a knockout with it. He has short hooks in close range, and they're very powerful. He needs to blitz Stewart early, get inside, throw his hands. He's 7-0 with 7 first-round knockouts. He's yet to be pushed or tested in his MMA career. I think Edmund's going to be very aggressive early, as usual. And Stewart started slow against Charles Byrd, so it's possible that Edmund can get him out of there quickly, in my opinion. If he can get on top of Stewart in round 1, I see him finishing the fight with ground and pound. And this is going to be the first fight out of the United States and the stiffest test date for him. Stewart's coming off back-to-back upset victories. He has really improved his fight IQ. He's fighting much calmer now, less like Marauder. And he does a good job of working off his jab, using a great head movement to slip shots. He has a nice, stiff, powerful jab, good straight right hand. He'll use a good lead uppercut, straight right hook combination. He'll also throw a left hook, right hook combo. Early in his career, Stewart would run himself down with a lot of crazy, inefficient spinning techniques, a lot of heavy grappling, and then he would get finished later on in the fight when he slowed down. But, you know, he's now become more of a counter approach. He's just popping the jab, looking to counter with big, powerful hooks. He has big power in his punches. He showed that by dropping Spicy with the jab, hurting Charles Byrd before finishing him with the elbow. And if he lands his right hand, it's a fight changer. He has 7 KO TKOs in his career. He's never been finished with strikes. He actually has very nice double legs, good takedowns, and he drives through well on shots. He has heavy ground and pound. He'll get wild looking for the finish. He is decent in the clinch. He'll get double underhooks. He'll throw nasty knees, good short punches, big elbows. He hurt Charles Byrd with the right elbow in the clinch before finishing him with ground and pound. And in close range, he's dangerous. He could change the fight with one shot. He can be controlled against the fence. He can be hit with elbows also. And he's heavy on his front leg. He could potentially get his leg chopped from the outside. And he tends to give up dominant positions when he gets taken down like the mounter's back. And I see that being an issue in this fight. I think that Stewart needs to try to keep his distance, land his jab, try to stay on the outside, then possibly occasionally clinch in on Edmund, try to catch him in the clinch with a big shot. And if he can get his back against the cage, I see Edmund being able to close the distance on him early, making him think about defending punches, ducking under, getting a takedown, getting in a dominant position, and just winning the fight. I think he'll be able to get inside of Stewart early, exploit the fact that he starts slow. He's willing to engage in grappling. And I think Stewart's also going to have a chance. If we can hurt and rock Shahbazyn in close with the elbow, or even just push and make him work a little bit. We've yet to see how Shahbazyn reacts to being the nail. Shahbazyn has also never been out of round 1. Maybe Stewart will want to rest, test his cardio. But I'm going to go with Edmund via first round TKO. I think he's going to come out there. I think he's going to blitz this guy, and I think he's going to be able to get him out early. So I'm going to go with Edmund Shahbazyn via first round TKO. And up next, we have Pedro Munhoz. He's fighting against Bryan Caraway. And this is an awesome fight, man. I'm really looking forward to this fight. It's a great scrap. I think both these guys are very underrated. And it's going to be a fight with a lot of scrambles. 2 of the best grapplers in the division face off. Bryan Caraway is looking to regain his footing. He had a long layoff, came back, had a split decision loss to Cody Stamann. While Pedro Munhoz, he's going to be looking to continue to climb towards contention. He's won 4 out of 5 fights. He looked better than ever against Brett Johns. But Caraway is a very aggressive fighter. He has an awkward striking game. Keeps his hands low. He'll throw out a nice jab, good straight right hand. He has a good left hook, right uppercut combination. He throws very wide with his punches. He isn't fast with his hand speed, but he does a good job landing follow-away hooks, being hard to catch on the feet. He's heavy on his lead leg, and I see Munhoz trying to exploit that with leg kicks, but Caraway, he could catch him with takedowns. He does a great job faking jabs, shooting double legs, and also he'll shoot a nice single leg. He'll fake singles and come up with uppercuts. He does a good job of when he gets denied with takedowns, coming up with uppercuts. He should try to use single legs instead of doubles in this match to avoid the guillotine of Munhoz, but he does a great job coming back up, controlling fights in the clinch, gets the cage with short punches, good knees. He's very good on top. He has a catch wrestling style, which does a lot of damage. He has strong elbows on top. He'll throw hard punches, hard ground and pound. He does a great job getting the side control. And he did a great job tying up the head with his legs against Stamann, attacking with short punches and an arm bar. He's extremely mentally tough. He'll continue to press forward, try to win the fight the entire time, even if he's beaten or bloodied. And he's dangerous until the last second. He proved that against Cody Stamann, almost finishing him with a guillotine at the end of round 3. He has great chokes, 17 submissions. He'll attack with guillotines. He has great back takes, good rear naked chokes. He keeps heavy volume on fighters and good forward pressure. I think he'll look more in this fight to use his jab, follow away hooks from the outside until he can time, body lock entries or single legs. And I see Caraway trying to control Munhoz against the cage in this match as well. I see Caraway trying to use his hands to set up the clinch situations against the cage. Munhoz is very hittable. I could see his jab being effective in this fight. If Caraway control long periods of time against the cage, if he can land his jab, land his straight punches, and just kind of outwork Munhoz, I think that he could potentially take a decision here. But Pedro Munhoz, he's coming off a fantastic dominating performance against Brett Johns. He almost finished him multiple times, and he was in 100% control of the fight. And Munhoz is a good fighter on the feet. He brings the pressure, leg kicks. He throws extremely hard body kicks as well. But if you give him moving backwards, he isn't nearly as effective. He likes getting boxing range, unload with heavy hooks. He has a stiff jab, good takedown defense, and his forward pressure makes people want to shoot on him. And that's when he wraps up his guillotine, which is awesome. And he's opportunistic with it. He doesn't have great defense. He gets hit with clean shots as he comes in. But he has a fantastic chin. He has big, very good cardio. And he has good high kicks as well. He doesn't look to wrestle or grapple much in his fights, actually. But he landed a hard hook. Then he got a nice guillotine on Rob Font. He usually hurts opponents on the feet, then takes them out with guillotines. And he was using a low outside leg kick, body kick very effectively in his last match. Nasty front kick to the body, which hurt Brett Johns many times. He'll also cover up with a high guard, wing big hooks in the pocket. He has no problem brawling. And it's hard to say what Munhoz is off his back in MMA, but his guillotine is amazing, and he's probably going to be good off his back. Munhoz has great cardio. He continues to walk forward. He puts the pressure on. He has 8 submission wins. He's never been submitted. And I think Munhoz want to keep this fight on the feet. I see him walking down Caraway using a lot of low leg kicks early. If he could slow the movement of Caraway, I see him attacking the body, then countering Caraway's jab with hooks with the overhands. And I think Caraway could have good success early, even get a takedown and win round 1. But I see Munhoz land harder, cleaner shots on the feet, just bullying Caraway a bit. And I think Munhoz will be able to take a decision or get a late finish via TKO. So my pick is going to be Munhoz via decision. And up next you have Justin Frazier fighting against Juan Espino. And this is the TUF finale. Juan Espino is a huge dude. He's 38 years old. So if he wants to do anything in the UFC, he needs to get started now. Espino's 6'4". He's an 82-inch reach. And he seems to almost be a pure wrestler. But he does have good movement. He's training out of ATT. So that's a great camp. They should have a good game plan. He's lying on his feet. He does a good job staying safe, bouncing on the outside until he can find time to shoot in, get a body lock, trip, single, or double leg. And he can continue to chain wrestle against the cage, elevate, return fighters to the mat. He likes to stay heavy in half guard, throw short punches, and he isn't super dangerous on top. He prefers to keep top position, land short punches, then open up, possibly lose position. He likes to methodically work until he can get an arm triangle and get a rear naked choke. He's only lost 1 fight to Vitaly Minakov, who's a beast. He's undefeated. And he has a decent jab. He likes to just use feints and fakes to set up his takedowns. He's 2-0 on TUF, and he's coming off a big win over Maurice Green via first round TKO. He landed a nasty overhand right-left hook combination, which dropped Green early, then landed some pretty nice ground and pound from the crucifix, eventually took the back at the rear naked choke. He should be very confident coming in here off that win versus rival. And he has 7 finishes. He's been finished by strikes in his only loss. But Juan's going to be a massive reach advantage here. He's going to need to use his jab, use his feints, use his movement, then try to get a takedown and just control the fight on the ground, finish it. And Frazier's also 2-0 on the TUF House. He's coming off a first round win. And Frazier's basically a pure wrestler also, but or actually, no, he's not. I mean, he did that in his first fight, and it made me kind of think that he was a little bit of a wrestler, but then he changed it up in his second fight. He used more of a grappling or a striking type game, but he likes to rush in with overhands and try to get in the clinch or get a takedown. He'll throw a right hand, close distance, grab the leg, land trip takedowns. He'll shoot double legs from the outside, but they're slow and a bit labored. He struggles to close the distance. He's not, the greatest distance striker, and he's fat, he's short. I see him really struggling with the range of Espino, and he also gasses very badly, and I feel like if someone puts him on his back, he would potentially give up. And I see this as a good fight for Espino. The only path to victory, in my opinion, for Frazier would be to land a wild overhand, knock Espino out in round 1. And I find it hard to see him grinding out a good wrestler. He's the much bigger guy for 3 rounds. Frazier on top, he's not very dangerous. He likes to get half guard, control the position, land short shots. He will posture up, land the occasional hammer fist, but he doesn't open up too much. I see Frazier trying to stay in the center of the cage, fake and feint, try to get Espino to come forward where he can counter. I see him trying to throw a low leg kicks, tie straight and overhand rights. And if neither fighter wants to engage here, this fight could be boring. But Frazier has been finished twice by strikes. He's fought guys like Derek Lewis, Mike Wessel, and those are the guys that finished him. And he's never went the decision. He's finished all 10 of his wins, 8 by TKO, 2 by submission. But I think that Justin's going to struggle with the jab, finding the distance with Juan Francisco. And I think then he gets over aggressive. He's going to get taken down. And I think he's going to gas out. So I think that Juan will finish him with round 2 via ground and pound. So I'm going to go with Juan Francisco Espino to get the win in that one. And up next, you have the main event. We have Rafael Dos Anjos against Kamaru Usman. And this is the fight I'm most looking forward to this weekend. The former UFC lightweight king is facing a young, surging Kamaru Usman. And this could potentially be a #1 contenders match. Rafael Dos Anjos is coming off a loss in a 5-round interim title fight with Colby Covington, which is fairly close. And he had a very bad ear injury in that match, which he said affected him from the first 15 seconds of the fight. He thought his ear was going to fall off. And he had surgery on his ear. He said he's 100%, so he shouldn't have any excuses in this match. And Usman, he's returning after a dominant victory over Damian Maia. He'll be looking to finish RDA, earn a title shot. But RDA is one of the best fighters in UFC history, in my opinion. He's a lightweight champion, 2-division title challenger, and he's a great, well-rounded fighter. He's a nasty Muay Thai striker. He's a black belt in Jiu-Jitsu. He has good wrestling also. He's a heavy forward pressure style. He throws very high volume as well. He has a nice lead straight and leaping right hook. He throws left straight, left overhand very fast on the pipe. He has very hard body kicks, nice leg kicks. He'll throw body kicks early and often. He'll leap in with uppercuts. He has great fakes and feints, good head movement. He's much more balanced and technical than Usman. And RDA doesn't have huge power. He doesn't have many finishes by strikes. But RDA will hang in the pocket, wing overhands. And he was fighting against the cage a lot in his fight against Colby, and I think that's not a good strategy versus Usman. RDA was controlled for periods of time in the clinch against Tarek Saffiedine, against Lawler, Colby obviously. Saffiedine took him down. He's able to control on top for a while. And, you know, if Usman gets on top, I'm not sure if RDA will be able to get up if they aren't near the cage. If RDA lets Usman get on his legs against the cage, I think that round would be very, you know, hard for RDA to win. RDA has good Muay Thai plum. He has good knees in the clinch. But I think Usman has the power advantage. And RDA will have success with that leg kick. I think that Usman will need to close distance, try to wrestle clinch very quickly in every round. RDA will want to make Usman move backwards with the striking, kind of boss the fight. He can't let him fight moving backwards either. And neither can Usman. You know, both those guys have to be going forward to win the fight. RDA has great cardio. He also has the 5-round experience. Usman's never fought 5 rounds. But RDA has always struggled with wrestlers. You know, he lost to Tony Ferguson, Khabib, Guida, T-Bow, Tyson Griffin, Colby Covington. He also had a very questionable decision with Evan Dunham. But he's much better now defending takedowns, using the cage to get off his back. He will get wide against the cage. He does a good job breaking the posture of his opponents, landing nice elbows. He has good knees to the body. He needs to beat Usman up as he tries to take him down to be effective. He has great cardio. He doesn't slow much even in 5-round wars like against Covington, Tony Ferguson. For RDA to win, he needs he needs to do a better job circling. He can't let himself get backed up against the cage. And if he can make Usman work, shoot takedowns from the outside, I think he can tire him out. He needs to attack the body with hooks, straight punches, throw leg kicks. And Usman's never fought a striker even close to the level of RDA. In my opinion, he's much less proven than a guy like Colby Covington. And RDA has good reactive double legs himself. He could take down Usman a couple times, get on top of Usman after defending Usman's takedowns. He may be able to break his spirit, but I don't think Usman has the same cardio as Covington either. And the line's way off in this fight. You know, I think Usman's a very explosive athlete, high-level wrestler. Striking is not good in my opinion. It's okay, but he's very stiff. He loads up on shots. And Usman, he had to do a whole training camp to make weight for a fight not long ago. And being in constant training camp could potentially be a problem for Usman. But Usman does a good job of laying a long jab. He's going to have a big reach advantage in this fight. Does a good job switching stances. He's good from both stances. He tends to spend more time in southpaw. He has a good straight left hand. He likes to throw a straight left hand right hook combination. He's very good at feigning single legs, coming back with uppercuts, overhands. He's very powerful. He can knock fighters out with one shot. He showed that against Sergio Moraes. He likes to use a right uppercut, left high kick combination. He also does a good job keeping constant pressure. He pushes opponents backwards. He has good leg and body kicks. He can sometimes walk forward, look for the knockout. He makes himself more hittable. He needs to not do that against RDA, where he needs to be loose. He needs to be flowing. He's much more dangerous with the striking game when he's doing that. And he has a good chin. When he gets hit, he'll taunt opponents, and he has big power, but not a lot of standing knockouts. He's a college wrestling national champion. He's an elite wrestler. He's very fast. He's athletic, closing distance with doubles. He's very strong, and when he gets a hold of fighters, he usually gets them down. Usman likes to shoot single legs from the southpaw, and that's why his feints are so effective. He does a great job getting a high crotch, taking opponents down. Then he can level change it into a double leg. He does leave his head on the outside. He could leave an opening for RDA to find a guillotine, but I think it'll be very hard to guillotine a very athletic wrestler like Usman. And Usman has great mat returns. He'll bring his opponents back down with nasty slams, nice trip takedowns as well. And he's just a dynamic, diverse wrestler. And he does a good job laying hard ground and pound. He'll trap the wrist and really land big elbows. He'll stay heavy, controlling position. He'll work it to get into half guard where he's heavy. He'll attack with Kimuras. He tries to move into mount. And he has a strong mount, good ground and pound. He has good arm triangles, and that's his only submission victory is an arm triangle. Usman needs to use jabs, feint snatch singles on the feet, come up with shots, try to keep RDA at range, not let him work his boxing combination game. And if he can keep RDA guessing, the takedowns will come easier, and he can start to melt RDA with wrestling, pressure, and ground and pound. I think the RDA is going to be live, but most likely the better, bigger athletes can prevail here. I see Usman being able to land his jab, get RDA guessing with level changes, eventually be able to take him down, control the fight for the majority of the rounds. So I'm going to go with Kamaru Usman by decision there, but I do think the line is just a little bit off in that fight. And this card, in my opinion, is a little bit hard to to pick winners for. I think it's a bit of a tough card. But if I had to give you guys a parlay of the week for this fight, I guess I would say to go with the Roosevelt Roberts, Antonina Shevchenko, and Raoni Barcelos as the parlay of the week. And For my most confident pick, I would probably say it would be Raoni Barcelos for the most confident pick of the week. But, I do have a couple upsets in there. Like I said, I picked Rainey to get the win. I feel like, Joseph Benavidez versus Alex Perez is, a pretty close fight, as well as Kevin Aguilar versus Rick Glenn. But, I think that the two guys that, are the younger guys, and Aguilar and Perez have, probably better chances to win. They definitely have better chances to finish the fight. And, I think Edmund Shahbazyn versus Darren Stewart inside the distance is a very good prop. I find it hard to believe that fight is going to go to decision. I think Pedro Munhoz versus Brian Caraway will be a very fun, entertaining fight, but I really don't have a great lean on that fight. I don't feel comfortable laying that type of line on Pedro Munhoz, so would not bet on that fight in my opinion. And, overall, I think it's a very fun card. I wish that Gilbert Melendez was still fighting on the card. He's one of my favorite fighters. But I'm going to have a lot of fun going to this card. If anyone else is going to the card, let me know. Maybe we can meet up, have a good time. And, it should be a fun night of fights. But that's my breakdown for this TUF 28 finale. And I'll see you guys next week for one of the biggest cards of the year. It's going to be Max Holloway against Brian Ortega. I'm just hoping that they just fucking let this fight happen, man. Do not cancel it again. I can't take another Max Holloway fight cancellation. So just really want this fight to go down. And, hopefully this weekend we do very well. We win a lot of money. We have a lot of money for next week at UFC, the pay-per-view in Canada. And we do well again to close out the year. So I'm hoping we go on a pretty good run to end this year. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe. Let me know who you have to win, who you're betting on, and why. And, if you have any friends that like this kind of stuff, send them the video, post it. And definitely, like I said, trying to get to 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year. Hopefully with the new microphone, everything sounds better as well. So thanks for watching, guys. Thanks for supporting, and I'll see you guys next week.